Since I got errors the first time through, what I'm doing here is trying to build dynamic assessments in public sector solutions using Omni Assessment Tasks. So the first step was to create an Omni Assessment Task. Looking back at the entity relationship diagram, we're going to build these Omni tasks having already built the assessment questions. We're going to run those through the discovery framework to build OmniScripts. So from the Omni Assessment Tasks, let's build out a new one. Let's name it. This is 7. Status is defined. I'm going to write in here test 7. And I'm going to save it. We're going to create the OmniScript. We're going to name it. And we're going to name it 7 because that's what we're up to. We're going to add English. Still defaulting to contract. We're going to use Salon Assessment and Safety. Going to change this, make it Fire Safety 7 because we're dealing with this is the 7th attempt. Then I'm going to add a step. I'm going to call it Building Standards 7. And then we're adding questions, but we found that the drag seemed to work better than the category. So I'm going to do fire and enter. And I'm going to drag these two into fire. I guess this is how I can create the sequencing if I wanted to. But this is the first, how many violations. And then we were able to do this. Get fire safety and get the third one, drag it in. And then we're going to go, instead of fire safety, we're going to go to the building standards. We're going to drag these into building standards. What's the square foot? Do they have a safe established way of working? So we now have all of those. We can collapse them, we can add them. At that point, we know that Omni Studio is saving all of those. And to add the conditional logic, we need to click Build OmniScript Action. Interesting that this time, we're able to get step 1 and step 2 without any errors. So continuing with the build process, it says under step 1, update the field name to fire safety. So we're going to click, again we can click either one of these. Let's click this one to start with. We're going to change this. We're going to use the step properties and just changing step 2. So just working through the instructions. What we're doing is expanding the fire safety step, selecting this question. And note that if we're going here to the specific field, we can get to a conditional view. If we look at the full field, we can also see a conditional view. But let's go on ahead and grab the entire question, because otherwise we're just doing this field. So we're going to click Show Element if True. Now we want all conditions are met. We're going to go after the initial fire inspection. And we want that equal to, and the value is no. And we save the rule. And again, we're not seeing the compliance status here. So then we're going to close this step. We're going to go to the building standards. We've changed the name. And going after how many chairs, we've got a conditional view. And show if it's true. Clicking on show if true. All conditions are met. Area of establishment greater than 499. And we're clicking save. Again, not seeing any compliance, so let's keep moving. In the trailhead, what it says is once you've applied these conditionals, test everything. and then activate. But looking out at this help document around building and activating OmniScript, it says after you've built these conditions, this one says enter 500, which is interesting. But basically it says to click the preview, here are the ones to check. So enter 499 and see what happens, and enter 501 and see what happens. So we're going to go to preview. We get the first. Is this the first time? No. We get the violations. Let's say there were 3 violations. Our heating appliances, yes. Then we're going to say next. We're able to go to building 7. What's the square footage? You can put in here 300. And we're able to move to the next question. If this was 500, we now get the second conditional. Everything seems to be working using the drag approach. Actually, what we've been doing is previewing. So once we're satisfied it's working, we're going to click Activate the version. So I'm activating version 7. And we're done. We click Done. And we're here. So I think we've got everything we needed. And next we can move on to the next unit, having wasted a lot of time trying to figure out what those errors were. I hope yours has gone equally well and you haven't hit all the road bumps we've hit. And I imagine what I'm going to end up doing is moving these kind of as an addendum to this playlist with the errors, just so in case people see the errors, they know they can figure out what happened.